Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, our mission is to really get into some sources focused on Eastern wisdom. We're looking at leadership, influence.
And specifically this idea of preserving face, or the Thedin, right, which is about respect and dignity, but in a very strategic way.
Exactly. The source material we're using is this dialogue, kind of a teacher-student setup, and it offers some really practical stuff on communication.
It does. And for you, the listener, the goal here is to uncover why looking after someone else's self-respect isn't just, good manners.
Right.
It's actually a strategic move. It taps into something deep, what the sources call longua human loyalty, connection.
Which fundamentally impacts behavior. So, okay, let's dive in. The core question, the dilemma that kicks things off. When someone messes up, is holding back criticism just being soft? Or is it actually, smart leadership?
Yeah, that's the crux of it. The student in the dialogue asks pretty much that exact thing.
If they're wrong, and I don't call them out on it to spare their feelings,
Yeah.
I just, enabling them, letting bad performance slide.
It feels like a trade-off, doesn't it? Accountability versus comfort.
Right.
But the teacher's response here is, I think, really the key insight for this whole discussion. We have to separate the error itself from how we handle the error. The mistake, that's one thing. How you treat the person about the mistake, that's often the bigger issue.
So it's the treatment, not the mistake itself, that causes the real damage.
That's what the teacher argues. And it makes sense, right? People usually know when they've messed up. What really wounds them, what makes them shut down, is being humiliated. Especially in public. If someone feels shamed, made to lose face, forget about the lesson. It's gone.
So the act of shaming actually blocks the learning you wanted.
Totally. They can't absorb it. All they feel is that injury, that resentment, and critically, resistance. They dig their heels in.
It goes about defending themselves, not about fixing the problem.
Exactly. And the teacher warns that public humiliation, it doesn't just ruin the moment, it can create, a long-term resistor. An enemy, maybe, even if you were technically right.
Wow. Okay, so that completely reframes it. For you listening, the point isn't if you speak the truth.
No.
It's how you do it. How do you communicate honestly while letting the other person keep their self-respect, their langue de triomphe?
Get that delivery wrong, attack their dignity, and, the truth itself just bounces off. Or worse, it harms the relationship. It's a strategic choice you're making.
Okay, so let's make this concrete. The sources give examples, right? Not just philosophy.
Oh, yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The story of Charles Steinmetz at General Electric, GE. It's a classic.
Right, Steinmetz, he was this absolute genius, wasn't he? Electricity, engineering, basically indispensable to GE's early success.
A brilliant mind, world class. But apparently not so great when they put him in charge of, managing a department. Yeah. Administration wasn't his thing, disorganized, ineffective in that role.
So GE has this problem. They've got a genius who's essential, but he's in the wrong job, administratively speaking.
Exactly. They needed to move him. But, and this is the crucial part, they knew if they just demoted him or handled it clumsily, made him lose face.
They'd lose him entirely.
They'd lose the man, his loyalty, and all that incredible brain power he brought. The risk was huge. They couldn't afford to alienate him.
So how do they manage it? It's easy to say be respectful, but what was the actual move, the clever bit?
The clever bit was the framing. It was genius, really. They didn't call it a demotion. They created a brand new title for him.
Which was?
Consulting engineer. Now, the key thing is, this wasn't presented as a step down. It was framed as an elevation.
An elevation. How?
Like, your genius is too valuable for spreadsheets and meetings. We need you focused on the big picture.
Yeah.
It was positioned as prestigious, acknowledging his unique value.
So it validated him.
Completely validated him. While, quietly shifting his duties back to what he did best, the high-level engineering work.
So they basically gave him a kind of ceremonial promotion to get him out of the job he was bad at, but making him feel more valued, not less.
Precisely. And Steinmetz, he was apparently delighted, accepted the title happily, kept contributing his genius, the relationship was saved, GE kept its star.
That's incredible. Just a shift in title and framing preserved a huge asset.
It solved the practical problem without creating an emotional one.
And that really highlights the contrast the source makes, doesn't it? That 1 minute of public yelling, one sharp insult.
Yeah.
Can make a great employee just walk away forever. That quick emotional release for the manager costs years of loyalty. That longua.
It's a terrible trade-off when you think about it.
Yeah.
Now let's pull back a bit. Why does this work? What's the psychology here? Why is losing face so damaging.
Yeah, what's the mechanism?
Well, the teacher in the dialogue talks about everyone having this kind of inner defense, like an invisible wall. They call it the wall of self-respect.
A wall of self-respect. Okay, I can picture that.
It's what guards our sense of personal worth, our identity.
And when someone attacks that, tries to make you lose face.
They're not just criticizing your action anymore. They're attacking you, your core value, and that wall gets breached. Trust instantly collapses.
Yeah, you feel that visceral reaction, right? That's shutting down.
Absolutely. The emotional bridge between you just disappears. And once that happens, they're not listening to learn. They're just defending themselves, fighting back, even if only internally.
So the relationship itself gets sacrificed just for that moment of asserting dominance or being right.
Pretty much. Which leads to this sort of psychological rule. People learn and change best when they feel respected. Humiliation. It just breeds resistance.
And the source connects this to Western psychology too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To make the point universal.
It does, yeah. They bring in William James, the psychologist. He said something like, the deepest craving in human nature is the desire to be appreciated.
Okay, that's powerful. If appreciation is the deepest craving,
then preserving face is how you intelligently and humanely meet that need. It stops being about just being nice.
It becomes about effective interaction. Human engineering, almost.
You could say that. Because think about the difference. Criticism often makes people defensive, right? They might even double down just to save face.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But respect, genuine respect, even when delivering tough feedback, it actually encourages self-correction. People want to live up to the respect you show them.
It shifts the motivation from outside pressure to inside desire.
Exactly. Internal motivation versus external coercion. Much more powerful in the long run.
So let's look at another example the source uses, this time focusing on leadership and maybe generosity. The story of Anna Mazzone.
Right, Anna Mazzone. This is a great illustration of that principle in action. She apparently made a pretty serious mistake at work. Not a small thing.
Okay, something that would usually get you reprimanded, probably.
Oh, for sure. Most managers would have come down hard, scolding, maybe formal warning, you know the drill. But her manager did something different.
What was the approach?
Called her in privately, first off. Acknowledged the seriousness, didn't downplay it. But then, instead of punishment, the manager expressed gratitude for her overall hard work and, crucially, stated their continued trust in her abilities.
Wow. So, acknowledged the error, but immediately followed with reaffirming her value and trust.
Yes. It was a huge gesture of faith. The core message wasn't, you failed. It was more like, this was a mistake, but I know you're better than this, and I still believe in you.
That feels risky, though. For a lot of managers listening, wouldn't the fear be that you're just letting her off the hook? That she won't learn?
That's the conventional fear, absolutely. But look at the result described in the source. What happened with Mazzone?
What did happen?
She apparently redoubled her efforts, worked incredibly hard, not out of fear of getting fired next time, but out of this intense desire to justify the trust her manager had shown her.
So the trust itself became the motivator.
Precisely. She wanted to prove herself worthy of it. The manager gave her what the source calls an honorable way out. Define her by her potential, not just this one mistake.
And that gave her the space to actually grow from it.
Exactly. Growth fueled by loyalty and gratitude, not fear. That's the power of compassion and leadership, according to this view.
And the source really contrasts this with the alternative, right? Humiliating someone.
Yeah, it says humiliating someone doesn't prove their incompetence. It actually just shows that the humiliator is maybe small-minded or insecure, using dominance instead of guidance.
It reflects more on the leader than the employee.
That's the argument, which leads to this powerful concluding thought in the dialogue, almost an ethical rule.
Which is?
You simply don't have the right to diminish another person's value in their own eyes, regardless of the situation.
That really sticks with you. So the ultimate measure for you listening isn't just, did I get my point across? It's
what does this person think of themselves after interacting with me? Especially after a difficult conversation.
Did I build them up, even while correcting, or did I tear them down?
Right. Preserving face isn't just politeness anymore. It's like the art of guiding people while boosting their self-worth. That's high-level leadership.
And the teacher's final takeaway is that mastering this, it elevates everyone.
Yeah, the person who learns to lift others up strategically and genuinely is also operating on a higher level themselves. They're preserving their own dignity and influence in the process. It's reciprocal.
Which brings us back to that final quote, the essence of it all. Ji cho nui hak, the jili long nui cho chin min.
Preserving face for others is keeping humanity, keeping loyalty for yourself. It's fundamentally about building deep, lasting influence through respect.
So if influence comes from respect, not just power, here's something to think about.
What small, maybe even tiny intentional act could you do today? An act that makes someone feel genuinely seen, appreciated, respected.
That might just secure that deep loyalty, that long yue. Maybe even, as the source hints, save a great soul in the process.
Something to consider.
Yeah. Definitely something to consider. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.